But today I'll share what I got from Lidl. Their vegan range is on offer at the moment, and I'll share at the end what I actually ended up spending. Then from the Lidl own brand range, the Vimondo range, which is what they had one of the Lidl Plus coupons on today, we've got some smoked tofu. If it's smoked, you don't have to marinate it in advance. And this was like 99p for 180 grams. I don't think that's too bad price wise, especially for it to already be smoked. So if you buy, what's it called, the Organic Tofu Company in Sainsbury's, even when it's on offer, it's like £6 a kilo, and that's not even marinated, so you still got to then do your own things to it to actually make it tasty. I personally don't like tofu if it's not smoked or drowned in some kind of sauce, so that's handy for protein anyway. And then we've got their own vegan juicy burgers. Did I really examine these properly? What have they got in them? These are like mushroom, broad bean based, and bean protein, broad bean flour, pea protein. They also had some chicken style burgers that I did not get, and that's because the ingredients list was like wheat, wheat, and wheat. So they were very anemic looking, and they didn't seem to actually have much in the way of actual nutrients, whereas this has got like a bit more of a variety of ingredients in them. These will in theory look a bit like beef burgers when they're cooked, and these can't be frozen. That was the only thing that I found a bit odd about those. So we'll see what they're like. The last time I brought a vegan burger, was it from like Meatless Farms or something? They had tried to make it smell like you were cooking meat, and because I don't buy vegan products made to kind of look and smell and taste like meat, really don't care. I don't miss meat when I'm not eating it. For me, that was a really unpleasant experience because it smelled like you were cooking rotten beef, not beef burgers. It was also just really hard to cook them all the way through, and I think they were like soy based or something. So hopefully these will be better. Onion bhajis, that wasn't very exciting. Ignore those. The other thing from the vegan Vermondo range was Medaglioni. We've got one with mushrooms and then one with spinach, broccoli, and olives. Ordinarily, I don't really like buying processed pasta dishes. I had a neighbor who was Italian once who said to me, never go to an Italian restaurant. Anyone who owns an Italian restaurant is going to be really angry at me for saying this, but it was just her opinion. She was like, I would never pay for Italian food outside of my house because she was like, it's the easiest food in the world to make. And I'm sure there are Italian restaurants that would disagree with that, because you can buy just plain pasta for like something silly like 4p per 100 grams. I think nearly every student just gets in the habit of eating way too much pasta, and for a while there I was just sick of it. But I haven't bought pasta for ages actually this year, and usually a lot of those filled pastas do have dairy in them and these do not. So that's why I was curious about these. I can't remember how much they were. This is also another thing that you can't freeze, but you can keep them for like 3 days, 3 to 4 days. So that's not too bad. And they have got a long date on them anyway, until a month from now. We will invent something to go with those. And then the final thing from that range is vegan gnocchi. So they have a tomato one, spinach and basil, and sweet potato. I would normally never buy gnocchi. I did buy some last year when I was making Joe Wicks's. I got his vegan cookbook and he had a gnocchi recipe, which was, or more than one maybe, that was perfectly tasty. I'm just not normally a potato person. The only reason I got these was because they are baked into them, that they are already flavored, because otherwise obviously when you make gnocchi the idea is that you would normally again drown it. Lastly, from the new range of stuff that was discounted as part of Lidl Plus coupons is these vegan Vermondo spreads. I don't even know how much these are, and I just did the classic thing when I can't make a decision. I normally have either one of everything or nothing, and there's a YouTuber called Struthless who always says like, can you go for like the 70% rule? So if you have 20 choices of something, could you just pick one that would be in your top 6 and just have that be your choice? We just have this modern anxiety about making all choices, I think. I think today is very much a reflection of, I got a bit overwhelmed as an autistic person in the supermarket. Let's just try everything. It's on offer anyway. That's how we've ended up with curry and pineapple spread. Not gonna lie, tiny bit allergic to pineapple, but looking forward to my lips tingling when I have that one. Beetroot and horseradish spread, tomato and basil spread, and courgette and curry spread. I've got over 4 kilos of peanut butter in the cupboard because that was the last thing that I did as like a bulk buy on offer. Why was that? I think I had like a £30 coupon for Holland & Barrett, but I've also been eating peanut butter sandwiches for over 10 years now, And I think when you're autistic, it's like quite easy to fall into restrictive eating habits by accident, just because you know that you like something and that it requires very little processing if you don't make a decision daily about what you're going to eat. And also when I'm shopping for groceries, I don't have to like think about other things to buy for lunch. And I am also capable of getting a little bit bored, and I don't think it's probably great from a nutrition standpoint to eat the same thing every single day. So every now and again I do break it up. So I've got these to try. They're in glass jars, so I think I probably mostly paid for the fact that these were quite expensive to ship. And the label says organic. So these are like sunflower seed based. Again, couldn't see anything that wasn't sensible about the ingredients. A sensible ingredient does look both ways before crossing the road, or whatever that means. And they only last like 3 days in the fridge, which is not ideal either from a cost point of view, because obviously if I buy like a kilo of peanut butter, I can put that in the cupboard and that lasts absolutely ages. But I'm looking forward to trying them. At the moment, kind of more important to me. And I also got a couple of things from the dreaded aisle in Lidl where they have lots of branded stuff, which is probably more expensive than it would be anywhere else, but you pick it up just because it's convenient, because it's probably something that you didn't even realise existed otherwise. So I got some Grey's Bite Delights. There's 6 of those in there for £2. If it's anything like the last thing I got from Grey's, I'm expecting that the contents of this fills like a third of the box and that the rest of it is just like 2/3 empty space. They're mainly made of oats. This was not a great buy because I have oats porridge every morning for breakfast, so this would then mean that I would also be like snacking on oats, but they are good until next year, so I'm actually just gonna pop them in the cupboard and keep them if I need a snack while out and about, and we'll see what we think of those. If you have the ShopMeum app, I think you can get Grey's cake bars for free at one of the supermarkets at the moment. Snap the receipt after you bought something and you get a cash rebate, and sometimes it makes stuff entirely free. This YouFit Light milkshake thing with odd things on the label. So that's a chocolate protein milkshake. I feel like everything that I've shared today, you kind of have one or two responses, and one is either that you don't care what's in food and that you never look at the price per kilo and stuff like this. So the reason that I'm usually able to spend so little on food shopping is because I do just kind of like check what the value for money is. But also all of these decisions, they're just all biased in some way, right? You just have to do like what's right for you, because some of the stuff that I've shared today, somebody somewhere is going to be like, well, that's silly, because why would you buy pasta that's 4p per 100 grams normally, and yet you've paid £2 for this other thing on this occasion? Like, that doesn't add up. And then health is it's pretty subjective. The way that we talk about it as a society, we talk about it very subjectively. I'm not saying that there isn't actual science out there that will tell you what food does as fuel in your body, but when we're like making these purchase decisions and someone's saying to you like, yeah, so I got this chocolate milkshake and it says it's fat-free and lactose-free. I didn't explain about the lactose-free stuff, so if you do go to the discounters, you can get lactose-free milk for nearly half the price of the major supermarkets. But the reason that I do that is because I was told by a doctor, because of a hereditary skin condition, and my anecdotal experience with that is that it helps. But there's a nutritionist called Pixie Turner who I've always found very sensible. By that I mean she probably looks both ways before she crosses the road, and she always says like correlation doesn't equal causation. So what people tend to do if they think that they're intolerant or allergic to something, or they think that eating gluten-free or whatever would be magically healthier, is that they just cut that stuff out their diet and go, I think I feel a bit better. And that can become like a very expensive lifestyle, like as a general rule, buying stuff that is processed for vegans or lactose-free or gluten-free. If you haven't been diagnosed with anything by a doctor or recommended by a doctor to do any of those things, the only way to know if you're actually like allergic or intolerant is to have proper tests done. So I wouldn't go the route of spending more on those foods in the belief that it's going to be magically healthier. And on that note, I also got a bitter roll, which sounds like the Aperol equivalent of like Lambrini or something. So this is an aperitivo spritz, a classic spritz made with zesty bitter flavours, Italian white wine and soda. So I love an Aperol spritz. The last one I had was like £10 in London, so not something you necessarily want to spend on every single day. Oh, this has vodka in it. Oh, interesting. So I've talked like quite a bit about drinking alcohol free recently in other bits of content, and the other thing I would say about this, because this clearly has alcohol in it, drink responsibly, is that the other thing I find about making content is that everyone wants to have a label and label other people, and people are not just one thing. So I do really like drinking alcohol free. I also got some diet lemonade today because I'm that person who takes like 0% beer and turns it into a shandy. I literally just said I bought diet lemonade. Like, what difference does it make? Like, it doesn't make me a better person that I bought the diet lemonade instead of the full sugar lemonade. You know what I mean? No one is just one thing. There's lots of evidence out there that when people try to adopt a habit of becoming vegan or whatever, that their problem is that they don't have like an identity pact. Saying that you're trying to do something is not the same as living it, but also I mentioned earlier, like when you're autistic, sometimes things can be very all or nothing. But to our surprise, I am also a complex human being, like most of us. There are other things that will not be all or nothing. I don't think you have to worry about trying to fit yourself into a box all the time. Ground coffee, I find really cost effective from the discounters. So the French style Belleron blend is less than 50p per 100 grams. I haven't been able to... The only thing cheaper, I think, is if you buy ground coffee from Poundland. I did that for a while. I didn't think much of it, and then got given some coffee for one of my birthdays and just realised that I had, I don't know, nuked my taste buds or something. I've decided what I'm going to do with all this veg is just like roast the cauliflower and the courgettes and maybe in some coconut oil. And then I've got teriyaki sauce. I already had the coconut oil, and that means I can put the spring onions in teriyaki. I won't put anything on the vegetables when I roast them because it's going to be way too much here for me. If I have leftovers, that's fine. I can do something different with them tomorrow. We had the Go and Bites for lunch in the end, and then I also realised that whether this was subconscious or not, a lot of the stuff that I bought today, like the picnicky falafel things, are also what I would kind of eat with friends, and I have got friends visiting. So although I spent a lot more than usual today, I have sort of fed two birds with one stone and my friends at the same time, I guess. What it actually came to in the end was about £59. It should have been £65 before the Little Plus coupons were added, and that's basically given me a month of dinners, definitely some lunches and snacks, as well as the morning coffee and soft drinks and all of the milks. Oh, I didn't even talk about the dark chocolate. I buy like the premium dark chocolate that's like £1.40 something, but I'm not gonna go into a long thing about why that is. I think I already have something previous somewhere about why. Okay, so I did manage to get everything in the fridge and the freezer in the end, despite having a teeny tiny freezer. I don't know if any of the air is actually going to circulate and if any of it is actually going to stay frozen, but never mind. And the other thing I forgot to mention was that I got oat milk as well, because that's only 55p in the discounters, and it's like 3 times the price, at least if you get it from a health food store. It's not really a substitute for cow's milk. I think on Trust Me, I'm a Doctor, Giles Yeo said that soy is nutritionally the second best thing to cow's milk in terms of like protein and the other nutrients. Oat milk it's a bit anemic nutritionally, but it's really cheap, and it's just annoying having to keep going back and back and back again to buy fresh milk. So that's my stand. And don't forget also that you can upload your receipts to receipt cashback apps like Shopix and ZipZero to get cashback after you spent it as well. The rest of the Go and Bites while having lunch went on the floor. The other reason why I don't like to spend a lot on food, because you can eat quite well for not a lot, but also I just, drop some of it on the floor anyway. I also injured my hand. Yeah, just Calamity Jane. My wallet might be fine, but Calamity Jane otherwise. The other thing I thought about today, I was listening to something yesterday saying like some people are scared to have money and they like try to get rid of it as quickly as possible, and that's why they have debt or they can't save. But I think I'm definitely the opposite. I like to save money generally, but I do occasionally get these bursts where I'll kind of let all the money go in one go, and I think today was one of those. But you have to eat anyway, and my idea of like a blowout, gosh, how exciting, a blowout at Lidl, wow.